All right, let's get going on our very last little section here. So, the moment that New Hampshire, the ninth state, finally said yes and the other started to fall afterwards, the Constitution gets passed. As you see in these pictures over here, there's parties everywhere by the Federalist side of things. Lots of people in America were just happy to be done with. Let's get this government set in place. Now then, the government now has to actually get to work, right? It couldn't get to work until the ninth state ratified the Constitution. So it took a while to actually get this thing started up. So once the ninth state ratified, all right, they've got to get going. So right away, unanimous decision, they'd select George Washington to become the president of the United States. And then our old friend John Adams, the guy that helped out the British soldiers in the Boston Massacre, he becomes vice president. George Washington hand selects him to become their vice president. And then Congress starts preparing. Let me write it in here so you don't forget. The Bill of Rights. Sorry, it got cut off there. So remember, in order to get this thing passed and to make the anti-federalist side happy and to get more votes on their side, the Federalists agreed that sure, we'll add in those first or those specific rights that we wanted. So at the end of the Constitution, they made what was called amendments, and that any amendment, all that means is that it's a change to the Constitution. All right, so maybe I'm going to make a note of that word, amendments. It's just a change to the Constitution there. The first 10 amendments, all right, we've talked about them before, they were made and ratified, meaning voted in and approved in 1791, and those first 10 amendments are called now our Bill of Rights. We actually have a lot more amendments nowadays, but the first 10 are the Bill of Rights. We've mentioned that before. Pay attention to that, all right? That's going to come up on your tests coming up. All right, guys, so our Bill of Rights now. Those are the most important rights that we have. And if you notice, my picture looks a little weird here, all right, because if you notice in the other sides, it was kind of getting cut off on the bottom. Well, I didn't want anything to get cut off of this side because it's going to be important, all right? I will ask you on your test to know at least a little bit about what the amendments kind of say. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to make this thing bigger for you. And I'd ask you to take a screenshot that you have it for your, so that you can go look at it later, okay? So I'm going to raise it up. I'll wait for a second. Take a quick screenshot there. Feel free to pause the video. And now let me go over them quick here, all right? Amendment 1, that's the big one, encompasses a lot. Freedom of speech, religion, and the freedom of the press. You can write whatever you want as long as it's true. Amendment 2, under big scrutiny nowadays, it's the right to bear arms, meaning the right to own weapons. They put that in there to make sure that the army could never mess with them again, all right? Amendment number 3, the government's not allowed to keep troops in their homes. Remember the Quartering Act? They said we don't want that to happen again. We want it said in our Constitution that it can't. Amendment 4, all right, this is basically your right to privacy, all right? The government can't unreasonably search and seize any property from citizens without a warrant, meaning they have to have a reason to believe that you may have done something or have something. They can't just come into your home and look through your stuff for any reason. Along with the that amendment, the right to privacy, amendments 5 through 8 all have stuff dealing with protecting people that are accused of crimes brought to trial. So this is stuff like the right to a fair trial, the do not have cruel and unusual punishment, all of these things. And then numbers 9 and 10, the last two of our Bill of Rights, those ones are specifically making sure that the government never has any or too much power. So basically what they said is the government can only have the powers that we wrote down in the Constitution. They can't do anything else. And also that we know that we didn't list every single right that people have. And we want the government to know that we have more rights than just what's written in the Constitution and our Bill of Rights. We have a lot more rights. We're just not going to list them all down here is basically what those say. All right, so use all this information. Go back, use the videos, whatever you want to do. Have resources available to you. But you will then, next goal day, you're going to have a summative on the Bill of Rights, the Federalists, Anti-Federalists, the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitutional Convention / the Constitution. All right? So be prepared for that for next goal day. Otherwise, hope you're doing well. We'll see you later.